Hi there, this is Haley with Bygone Blooms, and in today's video I wanted to talk a little bit about uppotting seedlings that are ready for more root space, and also some mistakes that I made when I started my early seeds like Lisianthus and some herbs and things like that. So one of the things that I really should have tried to do a little bit differently was that I planted my Lisianthus seeds in the same tray with other things. I planted them with eucalyptus, with some sage and oregano, and things like that. The problem with this is Lisianthus is incredibly slow growing. So my herbs are ready to be uppotted. They're ready for more room. They're tired of being in the soil blocks because they've been growing inside for a couple of months now. So while they're ready, my Lisianthus, some of them didn't germinate, some of them in the beginning when everything else was ready and growing and stifled by the saran wrap, the heat dome that I had on top, I took off my heat dome because everything else was ready. And so because of that, some of my Lisianthus didn't germinate. Some of them have just started germinating. Out of a seed pack of 50, I only have about 10 or 15 that I think are going to actually be viable and make it. And part of that is because, like I said, I planted them with other things that needed different things. So when you have a seedling that takes so long to germinate, like a Lisianthus, can take up to 2+ weeks or more to germinate, and you have them with seedlings that are germinating in a week, by the time the Lisianthus is coming up, everything else wants to be out from under the heat dome or your saran wrap or whatever. Everything else is ready to have a little bit more water. They're soaking in water, whereas if you just have a seed on the top of your soil that is your Lisianthus that's waiting and waiting to germinate, it can be overrun. It can get too moist. It can get moldy while it's in those same conditions as everybody else. So one thing I would encourage you, if you're starting seeds, especially really early, is I would start them each in their own tray. So that you know that whatever that seedling needs, hopefully its brothers and sisters will need the same thing, right? Versus different types of plants need different things. So in the future, my plan is to start Lisianthus in its own tray, separate from everybody else, so that I can give it what it needs and give everybody else what they need. But the reason that I'm uppotting some things and not others is because I need to deal with this, the lack of germination in my Lisianthus. It's taking up space where I have seeds that have not come up. And then also managing the Lisianthus that I do have and uppotting things that are ready to move on from that tray.
So if you have compost or if you have a dedicated seed starting tray that you want to uppot your seedlings into, you could totally do that. I've just used regular potting mix because that's what I had, and I'm just using cell packs that are left over from pansies that I bought a couple weeks ago because, again, that's what I had. I'm just trying to make it easy. What I'm doing is I'm just pulling out each individual seedling, and I've already labeled on my cell pack what each seedling is, and I'm putting them together with seedlings of their like kind. So you can tell even just when I'm pulling out each individual seedling, these are lavender that I'm working with currently, that the root systems are fairly good. This here is Ritro. I'm hoping to use dried, and that's something that has a long taproot, which works really well with soil blocking because the taproot just grew underneath and it wasn't stunted by reaching the bottom of the container, but now it needs a place to go. So because it has a fairly good root system, I'm able to just really gently pull it out. I've got 2 Ritro. This is the second one, and again, a really long root system, and I'm ready for it to be uppotted, for it to have a place to go. So it's looking really healthy, but one of the things that I kind of struggled with in this situation with my seed tray with lots of different things is that the Ritro specifically is quite a bit taller than everything else. So I'm ready to put it somewhere where the lights are higher so it's not squishing it underneath the lights, but everybody else is lower and needs more light closer to them. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to adjust my lights accordingly because of this. As I'm finishing up this lavender, I'll take a second to just give you some encouragement that this is the first year that I've grown lavender successfully. I've tried to grow it 4 years before. The closest that I've gotten is one seedling germinating. So just know that if you're struggling with a specific seed or a type of plant that you were really hoping to grow, that if this year is not the year, there's always next year, and there is hope for the future of your gardening. And I do think that part of why my lavender was successful this year is because of soil blocking. It helps things to germinate a lot quicker, and you can tell that they have really good root systems, and they're not stunted by the seed trays that I used in the past. It also was helpful that I was able to keep a closer eye on them and also plant more things in smaller space. It gave me a boost as a gardener to know that I had a whole lot of things coming up, whereas before, with the big seed trays, starting things out in those, it seemed like nothing was happening for a long time. So just a word of encouragement before I go, and I'm just going to tuck these seedlings in, make sure that there's soil packed nice around their roots, and get them watered in good, and I'll just use the tray that they were on to catch any extra water once I get that cleaned up. Thanks so much for growing with me. I'll see you guys in the next one.